Hello there. What's going on, everyone? Today, I'm bringing to you my top 10 worst upgrades in Star Wars Legion. These are the worst of the worst. At least as of March 2021. Things change sometimes. Maybe some of them will get better. If you are new here, there's still time left to enter to win the $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment letting me know what your worst upgrade card is. What do you think is the worst? Do you agree with my list? I would love to hear about it. Let me know in the comment section below. Also, hop in Discord. We're going to be doing lots of cool giveaways. I'm giving away an Ahsoka Tano for Imperial Assault, plus some other promos, and that's going to be happening during next weekend's, a super mini extravaganza that Atomic Mass Games is doing. And if you're watching this farther off in the future, well, I have new giveaways running all the time. I usually announce winners towards the end of my videos. But if you want to find out more information, just click on those links down in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump into this list of worst upgrades ever. Before you go forward, also, I'm curious if you can guess like any on my top 10 list. I'm curious if you're guessing number one either. So let's go ahead and jump in. Number 10 is going to be the Rebel Trooper Specialist. And this one was a little bit of a tough one because it's not completely useless, but it's mostly bad. In that, all right, look, Rebel Troopers aren't the greatest. I still like them, but this guy doesn't really help them in what I want them to do. Hey, you can get a free dodge token for almost twice the cost of a Rebel Trooper. Right now, I get that the points have been reduced on all of these. I'm using the actual printed versions here, and there's been some point reductions on a lot of these cards, and rightly so. But still, there's also been point reductions on other cards, like the actual regular Rebel Trooper. This guy has a use for getting you a dodge token, but Rebel Troopers are not really supposed to be the guys that are going out there staying alive, dancing on the battlefield, saying, "You can't shoot me because I dodge." Ooh, 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 ooh. And this guy, by the way, he's not dodging. He's not, is he? No, he's not. I mean, yes, you could use him to get a surge token, but he's terrible. Let's just, and he's exhaustible. I mean, he's not very good. We don't like him in my house. But then again, there's a place for it. Now, the mini is awesome and the artwork is awesome. It's just the card. It's you can feel free to swap this mini out with somebody else, and you're good to go. You just put the mini in your unit, you'll be fine. But the card, I don't think so. Moving on to number 9, Fear. Look, this card has a place somehow, somewhere. I'm sure somebody has used this card at some point. It's actually not terrible, right? So why is it on this list? Well, because it's only kind of terrible. The real reason is Force upgrades are kind of at a premium, and hey, it's cool that it doesn't exhaust to use, and that's cool. But most of the people that you'd want to use this already have Master of the Force, so they don't mind having to exhaust Force upgrades. And look, there's much better Force upgrades, and it's not like Darth Vader's out there able to just equip all the Force upgrades that he wants, right? It's not like you're out there able to just run all the Force upgrades. Most Force users need very specific upgrades. Saber throw, getting free dodge tokens, get a Force push, for example. Like there's things that Force users need. Nobody needs this. And everybody's got their slots full. Force users are already making really hard decisions. It could be that the Jedi the Sith that this is built for hasn't hit the game yet, and that may be so. Maybe we'll see, an Inquisitor that would be great with a card like this. Maybe we'll see Mace Windu, who can maybe take a little bit of dark side upgrades or something like that, because he kind of walks that line. Maybe we'll see something in synergy with a card like this, but we just I don't think we've seen it yet, and I can never bring myself to actually equip this on anyone. So sorry, Fear, I'm not afraid of you. Dad jokes are going to be coming throughout this whole video, guys. Just want you to know. Number 8. Oh yes, the MODOK Power Harpoon. I am MODOK, and this is my terrible weapon. I don't care how much you reduce this weapon, it's still I think it's free right now, as a matter of fact. I don't care. It still goes on this list. It's so bad. It still goes on this list. And you know what? We can even give it a hug. Like, I don't hate it, but I kind of, like, it has to be on this list. I don't think this list would have been complete if this guy wasn't on here. First off, he started off expensive. Right, this was one of those cards in like the launch wave of Star Wars Legion that we all thought was going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to take your awesome ATST and turn it sideways, and now it can't do nothing. And we're like, okay, but now most of the, so many vehicles just can reposition now anyway. So many things that you might hit this with, and people aren't running ATSTs anyway. Granted, I think everybody should run ATSTs, frequently, maybe at least once a month, run an ATST because they're awesome. But and they're beautiful minis to have on your tabletop, and they make you feel complete and validated as an individual because it is the mightiest miniature in all of Star Wars Legion. But anyway, the Power Harpoon's just terrible. I mean, it's just terrible. I mean, like, and there's a number of reasons why. First off, it's very short range, so it's kind of hard to use. On top of that, you only get the one die, any kind of cover at all, and it goes away, right? Like, you're basically hoping you get a crit and hoping that the other person, just doesn't also happen to block it. I have never actually gotten this to hit, even though I have tried at least 3 times. So, it has to have a special place on this list. All right, moving forward into the really ugly stuff. The Longrange Comlink. Actually, this one isn't really ugly. It's just, oh man, there's so many better comm upgrades, and this one's just not very good. And a big reason for this is that it didn't. I don't think it aged well. It has a lot of limitations. First off, only commanders and operatives can still issue the orders this way, which kind of doesn't let you do coordinate stuff. So you can't get your whole coordinate link chain action on with it. Also, they still have to be issuing you an order. And, wouldn't you rather just use HQ uplink? Obviously this one's had a points reduction. It's not as expensive as HQ uplink now, but I mean, I would wager to say on the times that you need it, HQ uplink is going to be so much more valuable. There's probably a list somewhere where long-range comlink is valuable, but nope. General Vice. I flipped to the picture before I did the introduction of General Vice. Oh, General Vice is so terrible. I think he's down to like 1 point right now, but he's just look. He's not as bad as I have placed him on this list. He does have kind of a use, right? He's kind of got this whole use where if you take him in a fully loaded ATST and you happen to be in just the right spot where all 4 of your weapons, which by the way all happen to have different ranges, and happen to have targets and line of sight to people within those ranges, and at a time when you can activate him, then maybe you can go ahead and do all this. But you also kind of have to hope your setup has worked, because a lot of times if you're running that many weapons on an ATST, maybe you want to have Veers or somebody else there to like set it up with some aims before it makes 4 shots, So it's just not practical, right? Because it's not just the cost of General Vice. It's also the cost of all those weapons, because you have to put all the guns on the ATST to make it work. Now, you can run him on something else, but nothing else that can take him can take advantage of the arsenal too. Like if you put him on a Gav tank that's fully loaded, now that Gav tank's expensive, but at best you're only going to get Arsenal 3 out of it. And that's actually a possibility. But the other thing is, you got to drop your Imperial Hammers pilot, which gives you surge to hit, which is like incredibly. It's not just. I'm going to blow my voice out here. I got to calm down. It's not just that the Imperial Hammers is good. It's that the Imperial Hammers is required, right? Like, you have to, because the one time you don't run Imperial Hammers will be the time you roll like 9 dice and have 5 surges. And it's just you have to run that. So yeah, you need Imperial Hammers. General Vice is just a no can do, unless he gets changed, and he should have been changed already. But hopefully we will see an errata a hard errata to General Weiss, granting him Field Commander. If he had Field Commander, there would be a place for him. But until that time comes, enjoy your spot on the list, General Weiss. Alright, I'm being really silly now. Alright, next up, the MPL-57 Barrage Trooper. Look, Fleet Troopers are already junky enough. Let's take the junkiest way you can run a Fleet Trooper with this junky gun. It has already got a points reduction. Not enough to make me want to use it. It's an exhaustible weapon on a unit that's, this is not going to do very good. It's got impact 2 and blast, and so those are kind of nice. Like it's almost like it wants to be shooting at other rebels. All right, it wants to shoot at a snow speeder so it can ignore the cover and get the impact. Okay, I get that. It's not often that you need impact and blast on the same thing. Blast is, I get that it's maybe like a kind of dual function here, but like the dice pool is terrible on it. A black and 2 white's not a very good dice pool. And it's inexhaustible. So you get this meh dice pool and have to exhaust. It is range 1 to 3, right? So like at least it gives you something that the Fleet Troopers don't already have. And by the way, Fleet Troopers already have 2 dice each, so it's only like +1 die that you're paying for an exhaust. And look, yeah, I get that you're getting blast there, but it's so bad because it might as well not even be a range 3 weapon. I mean, its only real use, I think, is if you're trying to split fire with Fleet Troopers, and they're not really somebody that I tend to want to do that with. It's trying to be a little bit versatile, but if it had cycle, then I could see maybe doing it. But again, and this is the case with a lot of these type of weapons, they just don't make a whole lot of sense. It doesn't sync with the rest of the unit. I'd rather it be cheaper and then also be distance 2 like the rest of the Fleet Troopers, and then you get this heavy for 14 points or something like that. And now we're talking. I could consider something like that. But no, it's just a hard pass for me, especially comparing the shotgun guy who's got red dice and Pierce. It's just phenomenally better, So yeah, I'll take Pierce over blast. All right, moving on. Smoke grenades. I love to hate these because they take a full action. It's so bad. Like I applaud the attempt with trying to come up with some kind of clever use for the grenade slot. But this should have been a free action. I like the smoke token when R2-D2 drops it, because for him, it's a free action. But I don't want to spend an action to do this. And here's why. If you're not familiar with smoke, you drop this token, and everything that's within distance 1 of this token gets light cover. Whether it's being shot at or whether it's shooting. So you're not getting any benefit from being in this, unless you've already shot. And that's really the thing, is it's so hard to get the timing right to have a perfect smoke drop. Because for a unit to drop smoke grenades, they can't aim and shoot, and they can't move and shoot. They have to, if they want to be able to shoot, they have to shoot and then drop the smoke grenades. And if you're dropping smoke grenades, that means you're not already behind heavy cover, right? Unless you're dropping it for a friend that needs to move through that. But that means that if that friend tries to shoot, they're going to also, there's only one potential case for it where somebody has a perfect shot and free aim tokens, and so they shoot with some free aim tokens, and they get, and then they have a second action. They get to drop it for some sharpshooter to come through and be like, haha, you can't see me, but I can see you. There's there's maybe one specific game in the history of the world where this has been oh, that would have been nice, but nobody brought it because it's a crappy card in the first place, and it's just really bad. And I know it's also got points reduction, but I think it needs to be a free action. I wouldn't even mind if it was a free action and an exhaust. I don't need to be able to drop smoke every turn. That's the other thing here, Sue, is you can drop smoke every turn, but no thank you. And maybe this will change someday, and we'll see smoke grenades have some more clever and creative uses, but I just don't see that happening now. All right, moving up. This guy. So if you watched my Stormtrooper deep dive where I did a Stormtrooper breakdown, I talked a little bit about how bad the HH-12 is. And it's even worse than those terrible fleet troopers because this one's also cumbersome. So not only does it have the restrictions of having kind of a mediocre dice pool and being expensive and being, I mean, granted, yes, it has seen a points reduction, but also being inexhaustible. But now you also can't shoot if you've moved, so you can't move and shoot. And it's got a minimum range requirement, so you can't even shoot it at close range. So like it's so bad. It kind of makes me cry a little bit. It has some uses, but there's other things that do what it does better. And so like this one was like obsolete before it left the box, or before it left the box. I mean, does that mean some people are leaving it in the box? I don't know. Bad card. All right, we're getting down to the finish line here. Number 2. Environmental gear. This one is just awful. And one of the reasons I think that this one is as bad as it is I think there was different expectations for how battlefields were going to be set up. I think they thought a lot more people were going to be using area terrain. And granted, it has a use that you can like jump over a barricade. But I don't think that many people, I mean, some people use barricades. I use barricades a little bit, but they're not like, it's not like that training game when you first bought Legion and you're like, let's set up and let's put like 8 barricades out. Like, it's barricades are like few and far between and things like that. A lot of people are doing more custom boards, at least on my boards. I'm trying to bring in a little bit of area terrain once in a while, but it's just area terrain's usually ugly and not fun to have on the tabletop, and as such, like I seldom run with area terrain. But maybe that's just me, and you guys might disagree with this one. This one also has seen a points reduction, but also it's partly also because Ascension Cables exists, which goes in the same slot and is incredibly better. Like bringing environmental gear right now kind of implies that you think you're going to be going across difficult terrain a lot. And it's usually not the case. If anything, you're probably going to have one time per game where you have to make that move across difficult terrain and you need to like go faster than you normally would. And in those cases, it's just so much better to use Ascension Cables. And that's going to kind of factor into our number 1 pick, the worst card ever, Grappling Hooks. Look, Grappling Hooks is just bonkers at how dumb it is, at how bad it is. It's just awful. I think honestly, I think they thought people were going to be doing a lot more climbing. Usually, a lot of games people go around stuff instead of climbing over it. Nobody wants to take grappling hooks, and yes, there is. And a lot of that has to do with like the fact that objectives are usually placed on the board. People don't put objectives at the top of towers. Not everybody's using very square, rectangular prism type of terrain, and so like there's a lot of climbing that maybe they thought was going to happen that just never really made it into the game. I would love to see both of these top 2, grappling hooks and what the heck was it, environmental gear. I'd love to see both of them kind of reworked a little bit into doing some different things. Even if that meant the points kind of reverted back to their original point cost, which would be great. I would love to see like grappling hooks do something else besides just expert climber. Like maybe if you do climb, you get a dodge or something like that. Because maybe you're moving quickly, like you shot up with the grappling hook, and so you like maybe you went a little faster. Although that sounds a little bit more like Ascension Cables, but like that would be kind of nice. And in this case, they're kind of breaking through the glass, surprising people. I would love it if you got some kind of bonus for doing climbing. Same thing here with environmental gear. I would love it if you got some kind of bonus for traversing difficult terrain, in addition to being unhindered. So if you do, after you do traverse difficult terrain, maybe you get a dodge, and that might be that like you're blending in to the difficult terrain, so you're a little harder to hit. Like there's ways to make these things thematic that would also maybe make it possible. And because Ascension Cables is so good, because it gives you the ability to do both of these and a free action on top of that. So it's both of these and a free action. It is an exhaust, but usually you're only gonna have to do it once per turn. So yeah, those are my worst upgrades for Star Wars Legion. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with. I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments below. Don't forget to jump in the Discord server. Again, links for all that stuff down in the description below. I want to thank you guys. Big thanks to my patrons as well. You guys are amazing and help make this channel possible. So thank you for your continued support. I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much. And as always, have a great day.